A lot of people talk about how men say they love you, the words, the promises, the texts that sound good at 2 a.m., but love, real love, doesn't hide behind words. It shows up in the things he does when no one's watching. A man can charm anyone for a season, but when he truly loves you, when his heart is all in, he starts doing things that are different. Things that aren't casual, that aren't temporary, that aren't performative. So, if you've ever wondered whether his love is real or just convenience, pay attention to these 6 things, because a man only does these for the woman he truly loves. You can tell a lot about a man by what he hides. Most men grow up learning to wear armor. We're taught to be strong, to handle it, to never show too much emotion. We walk around like we've got it all figured out because somewhere along the way, we were told that vulnerability is weakness. But when a man truly loves a woman, something shifts. That armor starts to feel heavy. The walls he's spent years building start to crack. Not because he's broken, but because for the first time, he feels safe enough to put the sword down. When a man loves you, he starts letting you see the parts of himself he doesn't show anyone else. The things he doesn't post about, the emotions he doesn't even have words for. It's not just about opening up in conversation. It's about allowing you to see his real self, the unpolished version. The moments he's unsure, the nights he's overwhelmed, the days he doesn't feel strong. That's what love does to a man. It doesn't make him weak, it makes him real. Because love has a way of disarming even the most guarded hearts. See, when a man lets his guard down, it's not an instant thing. It's gradual. It happens when he realizes that you don't judge his silence. When you don't pressure him to be perfect. When you make him feel understood instead of analyzed. Every time he opens up and you handle that moment with care, something in him relaxes. He starts thinking, maybe she's not going to use this against me. Maybe I can actually be myself here. And that's rare, because for most men, being vulnerable has always come with a cost. Rejection, shame, disappointment. So when he starts trusting you with his truth, that's not small, that's sacred. You'll notice it in the way he talks. At first, it might just be small things, like telling you about his day or a memory from his childhood. But then one day, he'll tell you something deeper, something he's never said out loud before. He'll talk about his fears, not because he's seeking validation, but because he knows you won't run. That moment, right there, is love in its rawest form, because it takes far more courage for a man to say, I'm scared, than it does to say, I'm fine. And sometimes it's not even about words. You'll see it in his silence. The way he looks at you when he's trying to find the right thing to say but can't. The way he reaches for your hand instead of walking away. The way he lets you see him at his lowest, not just his strongest. Love creates that space. A space where he doesn't have to perform. Where he doesn't have to prove himself. Where he doesn't have to hide behind toughness. And I'll tell you this. When a man gives you that side of him, he's not just trusting you with his heart, he's trusting you with his peace. That's the side he protects the most. That's the part no one else gets to see. And if you hold that space with gentleness, if you meet his honesty with grace, you'll watch him start to bloom in ways he didn't know he could. Because love, when it's safe, becomes the greatest freedom a man will ever feel. So if he lets you in, if he lets the walls come down, don't underestimate what that means. Because men don't let their guard down for everyone. They do it for the one who makes them feel like home. When a man truly loves a woman, his instinct to protect her becomes something deeper than just physical. It's not about stepping in because he thinks she can't handle herself. It's about stepping up because he can't stand to see her hurt. There's a difference between protection and control, and a man in love knows exactly where that line is. He's not trying to own you, he's trying to honor you. He's not trying to restrict your freedom, he's trying to create a space where you feel secure enough to be fully yourself. When a man loves you, his sense of responsibility changes. He becomes aware of your world. not to manage it, but to care about how it affects you. If you're stressed, he wants to lighten the load. If you're overwhelmed, he wants to be your calm. He's not competing with your strength, he's complementing it. Because love to him isn't about dominance, it's about partnership. It's standing beside you, not in front of you. Now, here's where people often get it wrong. Some think a man's protective nature means he should fight every battle for you, but a man who truly loves you knows that sometimes protection means letting you fight and standing close enough to catch you if you fall. He respects your independence, but he's always ready when you need support. That balance, that quiet assurance that he's got your back, that's how you know his love is real. You'll notice it in small things. The way he makes sure you get home safe. The way he checks in, not because he doubts you, but because he genuinely cares about your well-being. The way he steps between you and a problem, not to take control, but to take care. His protection isn't loud, it's consistent. It's the things he does when you're not even paying attention, like locking the door after you've gone to bed, like remembering to remind you to eat when you've been too busy. Those things might seem simple, but for a man in love, they're his way of saying, "You matter to me." And protection doesn't always look like a shield. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's restraint. It's him keeping his tone soft when he's frustrated because he doesn't want to wound you with words. It's him stepping back from arguments that could escalate because your peace means more than being right. It's him choosing kindness over ego. That's protection, too, emotional protection. Because a man who loves you will protect your heart just as fiercely as he would protect your body. And here's what's powerful about that. When you feel protected, you start to relax into that love. You stop questioning his intentions. You stop walking on eggshells. You stop wondering if he's there for convenience or commitment. Because love, when it's genuine, gives you both something steady to stand on. He's not protecting you out of fear of losing you. He's protecting you because he values you. And the truth is, every woman deserves that kind of safety. Not the kind that cages her, but the kind that gives her wings. Because when a man truly loves you, he doesn't want to make you smaller to feel big. He wants to make you feel safe enough to grow. His presence becomes your peace. His love becomes your quiet assurance that no matter how chaotic the world gets, there's one person who's always looking out for you. That's when you know his love is real. When his protection feels like freedom, not control. When a man truly loves a woman, he starts to notice things he never paid attention to before. Love sharpens his awareness. It tunes him into the small details most people overlook. He starts remembering not because he's trying to impress you, but because you've become important to him in a way that naturally makes him pay attention. It's not forced. It's not a checklist. It's that he's genuinely invested in knowing you, really knowing you, beyond the surface. He remembers the way your mood shifts when you're tired. He notices the way you talk when something's weighing on your mind, even when you say you're fine. He catches the subtle things. The song you hum when you're happy, the food you crave when you're sad, the way your eyes light up when you talk about something you love. It's not about memorizing facts, it's about understanding the person behind them. Because when a man loves you, he doesn't just listen to your words, he studies your world. And it's not just about the cute, romantic gestures either. It's about the emotional memory he builds. He starts remembering what hurts you too, what boundaries you have, what topics sting, what things make you uncomfortable. He remembers because he doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of people who didn't care enough to pay attention. He's careful with your emotions, not out of fear, but out of respect. Because to him, your peace is part of his purpose. There's something beautiful about the way a man's attention shifts when he's in love. You'll see it in the little things he does, how he brings up something you mentioned weeks ago, or how he plans something thoughtful that connects back to a moment you probably forgot. To you, it might seem small. To him, it's his way of saying, I was listening. It's his way of proving that what matters to you matters to him too. And the truth is, most men don't remember everything, not because they don't care, because their minds are wired for what they value. So when a man starts remembering you, when he starts paying attention to the details that make you who you are, that's love in action. That's his heart quietly saying, you're my priority. It's his way of investing without needing to say a word. Sometimes you'll catch it in the way he adjusts his habits for you. Like how he remembers your morning routine and doesn't interrupt it, or how he learns to read your silence instead of assuming the worst. Other times, it's in how he remembers your dreams. Maybe you mentioned once that you wanted to start a business, or travel somewhere special, or go back to school. And he brings it up months later, asking how he can help make it happen. That's love, because a man in love doesn't just remember what you say, he remembers who you are becoming. He starts to take ownership in helping you grow. He listens with intention, not to fix you, but to understand what inspires you, what drives you, what scares you. Because love for a man isn't just passion, it's presence. And when he remembers your details, what he's really saying is, I'm here. I see you. You're not invisible to me. And that right there is one of the purest forms of love, being seen, being understood, being remembered. Because when a man truly loves you, he doesn't just fall for your beauty or your laughter. He falls for your essence. And he holds it close enough to remember, even when the moment has passed. That's how you know it's real, when he remembers the parts of you no one else ever took the time to notice. When a man truly loves a woman, love stops being a feeling that comes and goes. It becomes a decision. The kind of decision he makes every single day, even when it's not easy, even when the excitement fades and life gets quiet. Because real love isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. It's not about those grand moments where everything feels perfect. It's about all the ordinary moments where he still chooses to stay. You see, when a man loves you, he doesn't just choose you when it's convenient or exciting. He chooses you when the spark needs work, when communication takes effort, when you're both tired and life's messy. He doesn't disappear when things get complicated. He shows up. And that's how you can tell the difference between a man who's in love with the idea of you and a man who's truly in love with you. Because the first loves the high, the second loves the heart. When a man's love is real, you'll see it in his consistency. He doesn't make promises he can't keep. He keeps showing up, quietly, sometimes without even needing recognition. He calls when he says he will. He follows through on the small things because he knows that's what builds trust. He chooses the relationship even when it's not fun because he understands that love isn't always supposed to feel effortless. It's supposed to feel worth it. And this choice, this steady kind of love, is what separates a man who's just present from a man who's truly committed. Because choosing someone every day takes strength. It takes emotional maturity. It takes a willingness to grow through the uncomfortable parts. And when a man loves you, he'll lean into that growth. He won't run when things get hard. He'll want to figure it out, not fight his way out. He'll see arguments as opportunities to understand you better, not reasons to pull away. The truth is, real love shows itself in the unglamorous moments, in the quiet mornings, the stressful nights, the chaos of real life. When a man keeps choosing you there, that's love. When he looks at you on your bad days and still sees something worth fighting for, that's love. When he doesn't let pride, ego, or boredom convince him to drift away, that's love. Because love, when it's mature, isn't about the butterflies anymore. It's about the bond. It's about the commitment that says, even when I don't feel it the same way, I'll still choose to nurture it. It's about staying curious about each other. It's about showing appreciation instead of taking comfort for granted. It's about reminding each other, you still matter to me, even after years together. That's the kind of love that lasts. And you'll feel it in the way he prioritizes you, not just with words, but with time. He'll make space for you in his life, no matter how busy he gets. He'll choose to be present, not because he has to, but because he wants to. Because for him, love isn't about keeping score, it's about keeping connection. And when he's truly in love, that connection becomes his anchor. He understands that choosing you again and again doesn't make him lose himself. It grounds him. It reminds him of what matters most. Because real love doesn't take away freedom, it gives purpose to it. And when he loves you, that purpose becomes simple. To keep showing up, to keep choosing you, even in the ordinary, even in the quiet, even when no one's watching. That's when you'll know his love is real. When he keeps choosing you, not because he has to, but because he can't imagine doing life any other way. When a man truly loves a woman, he starts to listen differently, not just to the words she says, but to the meaning behind them. He doesn't listen to argue, or to defend, or to fix everything right away. He listens to understand. Because when a man loves you, he begins to realize that connection isn't built through his answers, it's built through his attention. Most men grow up thinking that listening is passive, that it means doing nothing. But when love enters the picture, listening becomes an act of love itself. It's how he learns who you are beneath the surface. It's how he begins to understand what brings you peace, what triggers your pain, what helps you feel safe. He starts to pay attention to the pauses in your voice, the moments when your tone shifts, the emotions that live in your silence. Because when a man loves you, he listens not just to what you say, but to what you mean. And here's the truth. Real listening takes humility. It means setting down pride, setting aside the urge to always be right, and choosing instead to be present. When a man truly loves you, he learns that being right is never more important than being connected. So, he doesn't interrupt when you speak. He doesn't minimize how you feel. He doesn't try to tell you how you should feel. He gives you space to express, to release, to just be heard. Because he knows that sometimes the best thing he can offer isn't advice, it's presence. You'll see it in the way he adjusts, the way he remembers what you said and makes changes without you having to repeat yourself, the way he circles back to conversations to make sure you're okay. That's not him being soft. That's him being intentional. Because when a man listens with love, he's not just collecting information, he's learning how to love you better. And sometimes that listening isn't about heavy conversations. Sometimes it's in the simple, everyday things. Like when you tell him about something small that excited you, and he remembers to ask about it later. Or when you share a story from your past, and he brings it up months later because it stuck with him. That's love in practice, not grand, not dramatic, but deeply attentive. Because when a man loves you, your words don't just enter his ears, they stay in his heart. And when misunderstandings happen, because they always do, he listens then, too. He listens even when emotions are high, even when it's uncomfortable, even when every part of him wants to defend himself. He listens because he values peace more than pride, because love has taught him that being heard is one of the deepest human needs. And if he can meet that need for you, he's building something that arguments can't destroy. What's beautiful is that this kind of listening creates safety. It makes you feel seen. It lets you know your feelings matter. And that's the foundation of real love, when you can speak freely without fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. That's how a relationship grows roots. Because when a man listens, he's not just collecting your thoughts, he's connecting to your soul. Love changes the way a man hears. It softens his tone, it lengthens his patience, it shifts his focus. He begins to listen with empathy instead of ego. And that's when communication turns into connection. That's when two people stop trying to win and start trying to understand. Because when a man truly loves you, he doesn't just listen to reply. He listens to protect your heart. When a man truly loves a woman, something inside him starts to shift. Love begins to work like a mirror. It shows him the parts of himself he's proud of, and it gently reveals the parts he still needs to work on. Not because she demands it, not because she gives him ultimatums, but because being with her awakens something deeper. It stirs a desire to become a better man for her, yes, but also for himself. Real love doesn't change a man by force, it changes him by inspiration. You see, when a man loves you, he starts to hold himself to a higher standard. The same things he used to ignore, his temper, his words, his habits, they start to matter. He starts catching himself before saying something careless, because he doesn't want to hurt you. He starts thinking twice before making impulsive decisions, because he knows you're part of the picture now. He starts seeing life through the lens of we instead of me. And that shift, that quiet transformation, is one of the clearest signs that love is doing its work. But here's what's important to understand. This kind of growth isn't always loud. It's not about dramatic change overnight. It's subtle. It's him learning to apologize sooner. It's him taking responsibility instead of deflecting blame. It's him wanting to show up differently because he finally has someone worth showing up for. Love gives him purpose. And when a man finds purpose in love, he begins to evolve into the version of himself he was always meant to be. Sometimes, that growth looks like healing. Maybe he's been carrying old wounds. Maybe he's built walls to protect himself from being hurt again. But when he loves a woman who's patient and understanding, those walls start to soften. He starts facing emotions he's run from his whole life. Not because it's easy, but because he knows he's safe now. Love makes him brave enough to face himself. That's what real love does. It becomes the catalyst for transformation. And growth doesn't mean he becomes perfect. It means he becomes aware. He starts noticing the weight of his words, the impact of his silence, the way his actions either build or break trust. He starts asking himself better questions. Not, what do I get? But, what do I give? Not, how do I win? But, how do we grow? That's the kind of mindset love brings out in a man when it's genuine. And if you watch closely, you'll see how that growth expands into every part of his life. He starts wanting to do better at work, in his health, in his character. He starts showing more discipline, not to prove himself, but because he finally sees a future that means something. Because love, when it's real, gives a man vision. It gives him clarity. It makes him want to protect not just what he has, but what he's building. And here's what's powerful. When a man loves you, and you love him back in a way that honors that growth, you create an environment where both of you rise. It's not one person leading and the other following. It's both of you pulling each other higher. He grows because your love reminds him that he's capable, that he can be strong and gentle, firm and kind. He grows because he realizes that love isn't about losing himself. It's about finding the version of himself that he's proud to share with you. That's the kind of growth real love brings. The kind that doesn't fade when life gets hard, but deepens with every challenge. Because when a man truly loves a woman, he doesn't just fall for her, he evolves through her.